That's Channel Television in-house election consultant Babajide Ogunsanwo, who's been giving us the figures. The figures are still coming in. We have just 8 more states left to turn in their results. How has it been looking at your figure there?
It's quite interesting. As of this morning, we remembered we only had counted 15 million votes. Then the APC was leading by just 2 million. Right now, we've counted 22 million votes, and the APC still has a lead of about 1.5 million, and we only have 8 more states. It's quite interesting that at the same time in 2011, when we had counted the same number of states, the 28 states we've counted right now, as at then, the current president had scored 18.7 million votes, and then Buhari only had 8.5 million votes. So we've seen a remarkable difference. As at this time, 2011, for these 28 states, Jonathan was leading with approximately 10 million. With the same 28 states counted right now, Jonathan is losing by 1.5 million votes. That is a significant and quite dramatic change.
Do you have any explanation on this particular figures, looking at what has gone down? We had Professor Oyebode earlier today, and we're trying to look at what could have led to all of this, looking at preceding this particular election. You recall the NPDP and some other crises within the political parties, and how he's also said that some individuals, talking about charismatic individuals in political parties, they've been able to sway votes either way for parties. Why we say either way? Recall the deputy governor of Rivers State moved just well before this particular election, while that of Ondo State also moved from the People's Democratic Party to the APC.
You're quite correct. And if at the end of the day, the general, and with emphasis on if the general does win this, we need to give him a lot of kudos. He's been strategically planning this for 16 years, and I'll explain what I mean by this. In 1999, when President Obasanjo won the results, he lost only 3 states in northern Nigeria: Sokoto, Zamfara, and Yobe. In 2003, he lost 10 states. By 2011, Buhari had won 12 states. So we see a consistent trend of the PDP losing the north, from 3 states that they only lost in 1999 to 10 states that they lost in 2003 to 12 states that they lost in 2011. So you can see a general that has been strategically planning the downfall of the opposition. And it's quite remarkable, as at the moment, out of the outstanding 8 states, 4 of those states are in the northeast: Borno, Bauchi, Yobe. The general has never ever lost those states. The only state in the northeast that we're expecting that the general has lost is Taraba State. Now, the other 4 states, we have 2 states in the south-south. That is 2 states that we're expecting the results, Edo State and Delta State. And we're expecting the results from Sokoto State. Once again, the general, in all his years of election in Nigeria, has never lost Sokoto State. And then we also have Benue State in the north central. Yes, the general has lost Benue State. Even in the last election, the general didn't score up to 25% in Benue State. So I think it's still a remarkable opportunity for either party to win. But looking at the trend, looking at historical trends, we clearly can see who will most likely win this election.
Okay, well, while we are talking about the votes that each of the candidates or the political parties are getting, let's look at the disparity between the registered voters and the accredited voters. What does that say about the voting pattern this year?
For the voting pattern, what we normally would notice, and which is what has happened in this time around, is the regions that have high level of poverty are the regions that we noticed high PVC collection rates, are also the regions that we experienced high voter registration, turnout, and accreditation and voter completion rates. And what it makes us strongly believe, for example, let's look at the region that had the highest PVC collection. That was the Northwest. 60 million PVCs collected in the Northwest. Going by the most recent report of the National Bureau of Statistics that talks about poverty, the Northwest is also the same region that has the highest number of poor people. So we clearly see that the general has so strong affinity with the poor. If you also look at the Northeast, a region that the general has never ever lost, the Northeast as well is the second region in Nigeria with the highest level of poverty rate. 69% of those living in the Northeast are poor. The general has never lost the Northeast. And going by the trends we have right now, only 4 states left in the Northeast that hasn't been counted: Borno, Bauchi, Yobe State, and Taraba State. 3 of those states, the general has never lost. So it's quite interesting. We can look at historicals and infer who most likely will win. But historicals are not the only way we should look at results. This doesn't mean the PDP has lost. You remember that this morning, the PDP were losing by 2 million votes. The PDP has cut short that gap to 1.5 million votes. So we are in for a very remarkable time when this next 8 results come in.
Well, Professor, I have to come to you now. I'm sure you've been watching the results trickle in. Do you think that we're taking too long? Or you're happy with the progress we've made so far?
Well, it could be better. The sooner results come out, the better for everyone, so that those who have issues can begin to analyze it and do what they need to do. However, this is what we have. It is what it is, and how do we handle the aftermath of it is what I think we may need to start considering. Maybe if we had all the results at the same time and everybody knew all at once who won, then who knows what would happen.
You're talking about the weight. Mark was trying to ask you, if you look at the feeds coming in live from Abuja, you can see that it would even mean that INEC, they're getting, agitated. They're also sharing in the long wait and the pain and the long wait of Nigerians. That's why now he's saying, well, this particular recess, we're not leaving here. We'll sit and wait for you to fix it. And possibly, who knows, maybe the magic here would be, seeing that everyone is waiting, those who are supposed to upload some of these information, this data, maybe on the slide, will pretty well do that fast and, so that we can all have them. Just 8 more states. What does this mean to you? He was saying, talking about the gradual progression we've seen so far in votes from an opposition government, even though we have seen that they have metamorphosed from different political parties, they have seen alliances, and now this is what they have come up with, and it would seem that is working. Do you think this is some kind of formidable growth we have seen that can encourage us to move our democracy forward?
Oh, absolutely. I think by what's happened this year, we have seen and witnessed our democracy blossom. I think perhaps a year or two ago, nobody would think of a formidable opposition such that you have such a close race. And we're witnessing a different, and even though there were some negativity at the beginning, those were actually mild compared to what happens in other parts of the world. And we have lived through that. We have managed this nation through all that to get to the point already where we are.